Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Presents Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy, and remember, every belt has a story. Now, before we dive into today's content, just want to remind you of a few quick things. Did you know you can watch all of the Wrestling Realm content anytime just by going to youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm? Don't forget to follow us on all social media, such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and use @WrestlingRealm. Always like and subscribe so you never miss a chance when we go live, and plus you can engage in the conversation. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can watch our Twitch channel @The Wrestling Realm. Now, you're probably thinking, what does a weekend of wrestling look like? So I had the opportunity to actually go to MCW over the weekend. MCW is a Maryland-based wrestling promotion. It's been name dropped a few times within AEW and WWE, and you may have heard certain wrestlers have come through. It's kind of like almost a who's who of independence. Certain people like Adam Cole have come through MCW, Joey Matthews, Christian York, Action Andrade is one of the recent people, Leo Rush, Lita, Mickey James, the Hardy Boys. All these people have either had their career in the early stages or within their indie run, or either within their TNA or Impact run. They've always found a way to make MCW a home as well. So this weekend, MCW actually celebrated 25 years, and they did it with a fan jam. So on Saturday was the Shamrock Cup, which is kind of like the equivalent to their WrestleMania, and it's to pay tribute to Shane Shamrock, who passed away. And if you want to go look him up, I encourage you to look him up. It was a cruiserweight. He passed away. I don't want to take too much time on him because I couldn't do his story justice, but they have the Shamrock Cup to keep his memory alive. The family comes out, and every year certain wrestlers aspire to win the Shamrock Cup. There have been a couple different winners that of note too as well. But that was on Saturday night. So let me take you to Sunday. Sunday was the Fan Jam. They had a whole free event where fans could come in and meet certain wrestlers. Now you're probably saying, now Brandon, you're the belt guy. What does wrestling shows have to do with belts? Well, I'm gonna show you. A couple different things happened within that time. So let me just break it down a little bit for you. Within the first night of the Shane Shamrock Cup, there wasn't that many belt related things, but watching the Shamrock Cup and seeing the new winner being crowned, they give him a belt as well. So it was kind of neat to see that happen live because I had been around for so many Shamrock Cups prior. Some winners of note have been Christian York, Joey Matthews, Ruckus, Derek Frazier, Ryan McBride, Sami Callihan, Adam Cole, Leo Rush, Action Andrade, and even Flip Gordon. Flip Gordon was the last winner of the Shamrock Cup, so he's putting the title on the line. And this year, Miami Mike won. So it was kind of neat on Saturday to see that. But what happened was, on Sunday is really when the belts come to play. So the first thing I got to do was I got to see some of the actual ring-used belts within MCW. Only belt that was missing was the Cruiserweight. And it's crazy because I have personal ties to the Cruiserweight because I feel like at times the Cruiserweight title was like the must-see match on the card. And that's not taking anything away from MCW, but I felt like the Cruiserweight, sometimes the matches, depending on who it was like, oh, I gotta see this, because they were bringing certain X-Division wrestlers, they were bringing other independent stars as well. But I want you to check out this video and some of these pictures that I took of the actual ring-used belts. So some of the former MCW champions, and one of them that is synonymous with MCW is Bruiser. Bruiser passed away a few years back, and you could tell his presence has been missed in MCW. Awesome guy, always was a fan guy. They even renamed the arena after him. But he's actually a 10-time MCW champion. And it's funny because when myself, April, and David, we started going to MCW back when it was in Dundalk at the actual flea market. They used to clear out the flea market, set up the ring and everything like that. Then they moved to the green room. I remember when Bruiser came back and we're talking about he was a 5-time MCW champion. But in the second part of his career, he gained it 5 more times. But you have people like Jerry Lawler, of course, is a former MCW world champion. Joey Matthews, Ruckus, Ryan McBride, Matt Hardy, Action Andrade, and hometown hero Ken Dixon has been a MCW champion. So that list is kind of who's who, but also their secondary title. And the reason I'm saying second tier, because you have the Cruiserweight, which has been retired, but you had the MCW Rage champion. And the Rage champion was the belt that had the flames on the side, and it's a little cracked, and it's from Ring Use, and they actually have new belts. So those belts that were on display were from the old logo, where it was almost synonymous with the Maryland colors, the red, yellow, black, white, kind of like in line with the Maryland flag. MCW has since changed to like a blue and black with a gray pattern. But some of the most notable champions, I want to say most notable, some of the most recognizable MCW Rage champions were, of course, Adam Cole, Pat Brake, Brandon Scott, Ken Dixon, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, Scarlett Bordeaux, Joe Gacy, Leo Russ, DeMarcus Kane, Miami Mike, and Miles Hawkins is the current champion. And Miles is doing a fantastic job with him. I got to see him in the first round of the Shamrock Cup. Awesome match. So now I'm going to move on to another portion. When we were at the Fan Jam, there were certain wrestlers there. And anybody knows me know certain divas have a certain place in my heart. This one woman's wrestler, and the reason I said diva for a reason to tell you, it was a time frame that she was a diva, but now she's actually, part of the whole women's division. She actually helped shape some of the great women matches, not only in WWE, but also in Impact. I got to meet Mickie James. I think this may have been the 3rd or 4th time I had seen her, and I asked her to sign a belt. I wonder if you guess which belt she signed. Take a look at this short clip, and then I'm going to show you some pictures of the belt so you can see what she actually signed. And it's crazy, that belt is actually brass, but it looks like the zinc. The shine on the belt, everything about that belt is just nice. So now that I have a reason to keep it, I got an 11-time world champion, signed it, 5-time within Impact / TNA, 5-time women's champion, 1-time Divas champion. So in my mind, she's an 11-time champion. If she put it on the belt, can't dispute that. The next person that I had some belt interaction with was Brian Cage. Brian Cage, hands down, awesome person, very fan oriented, very much a good character, interesting conversation. I'll be able to probably share some things on Patreon. Also at the Fan Jam were red leather belts. Have you ever seen the nice mock-up photos where they have the belt sitting on display and it says red leather in the corner? That's the company over there. And they actually had some actual Ring Use belts there. And it was kind of neat to see, because then you really get to see the size comparison as to what the Ring Use are, what makers have, and even what some replicas come out to be. It was very interesting for me to see it, because some of the belts, like the TNT title, I felt like were a little smaller than what I expected. Because when you see them on TV, they kind of have a different feel to them, but they did have a different glare. So I don't know what's the difference, but just take a look at some of these pictures that I took and you be the judge. Now, of course, one of the big attractions were the Hardy Boys were there. So the Hardy Boys, let me just show you this picture, just put you in the right mind frame how the Hardy Boys are. So about maybe a year or so ago, April and David have a son named David as well. Of course, David Jr. He's a big Jeff Hardy fan. And when I say big Jeff Hardy fan, it might be on the same levels of Brian H. Waters with Hogan or Daniel Bryan, or like me within Chris Jericho. So let me just put you in a mind frame how David Jr. is with Jeff Hardy. So he asked me to help him get the belt made. I did. And you know what? Let me have him explain it to you. Because remember, every belt had a story. Listen to his story.
I remember the first time they introduced his belt. As soon as Jeff pulled his belt and threw away the other one, I knew I loved it, especially when it had the purple on it. And that heel turn he had is probably my favorite part of his career. I have a lot of autographs on many different belts, but this is definitely my favorite out of all. And I remember, no manufacturer was ever making a belt until this guy right here, Brandon guy. He decided to find a way to make it happen, and I couldn't think of enough for it. Probably the best belt that Jeff has ever had and ever
will. So Jeff Hardy signed his belt, and then as I was walking around, he said, hey, do you think you can go get Matt to sign the other side? Because he wanted to get it framed. So I was like, okay, cool. So went back inside, asked Matt to sign the other side, and just take a look. You actually can see in the picture him signing the belt. So I was ready to take the belt back to him, and I got to talking to April, who's David's mother, and April was saying, hey, I need to do something different for him because I really want the belt to feel special to him. And here at Championship Culture, I always say every belt has a story. He already has a story about why he wanted the belt. Jeff Hardy is his favorite. That belt means something special to him. So his mom, of course, wanted to do something special. So I went back and said, Jeff, do you mind drawing something on the side for him? You know, he really didn't have a chance to come over and talk to you. Do you mind? Great guy. He sat there, he took the silver marker, and he drew. And if anybody's seen any of Jeff Hardy's artwork, you know he takes time, and it's very, I want to say Jeff Hardy-like, but you can tell a Jeff Hardy signature, you can tell a Jeff Hardy drawing. If you've seen any of the t-shirts and the emblems, it just has this certain look to it when you see it. So I want you to check out this next video, because in the next video is when I'm taking the belt back to him, and I kind of faked him out. So what you don't see is me walking up to him, shaking my head like it's a bad thing that I couldn't get it done for him. His mom is right behind me. Just watch his reaction to this belt when he actually saw what Jeff Hardy did with his belt.
What's wrong? Look at it. Look at the other side.
It's just longer to home. Lordy. There we go.
Are you happy now?
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, my weekend in wrestling. I have to give a special shout out to my friends David and April. Don't forget Melissa, I can't forget you. And David Jr., I can't wait to see when you put that Jeff Hardy belt into a display case. Because remember, every belt has a story. Can't wait to hear yours.